Yo, 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 what's going on, everybody? We're back again for another session of Who's the Deadbeat. For those who don't know, we bring people up that's experienced parental alienation, and we giving everybody a chance to tell their sides of the story. As everybody knows, it's two sides to every story, so we welcome everybody. Um, Go ahead, hit them with the disclaimer.
Forgive me, y'all. I'm such in a crazy mood. But who's a deadbeat? We are not liable or reliable for any litigations or legal proceedings that anybody is currently in and any to follow. Just to kind of let you guys know, we are here to let you, have a voice, not to be in the middle of your drama. It's not about that, and we want to be clear that you be respectful. Don't say any names. If you can, refrain from doing that. We've had people do that as well. But just know if you get up here and you doing that, then that's on you. You don't have anything to do with us. This is our platform just to share the story and spread awareness about parental alienation. So
That's right. I just posted a link in the comment section, so if anybody want to join to tell their story, you can hop in the queue. Uh, let's see here. We just had a guest that popped in and popped out.
yeah, that happens.
Okay,
All right.
but meanwhile, in between time, man, y'all make sure y'all fight for those kids, man, cause we done heard some crazy stories about people not doing what they supposed to do. You gotta stay consistent. You gotta do it in a timely fashion, cause that'd be the biggest part when it comes to everything. It's the time frame, and if you don't get to your kids in time, if you don't file in time, you could be possibly lose custody forever, or you're gonna make the job way harder for you.
Yeah, and we've been doing this for a while. We pretty much like to advocate for people who going through this, but stories aren't always the same. Of course, every case is different. Every situation is different. I mean, we don't like to pass judgment on why people choose not to fight. I mean, some people have to make a decision. We've known people who have fought, and due to the circumstances of the fight, they had to either take a break, pause, fall back, regroup, come back. I mean, it's just all about your situation. And if you really, really want your kid, like if you want to be a part of your kid's life, there's nothing that we can really say, right? You would just be ready to jump in and do what you need to do. And so that's just what it's about. We're here to encourage and have that support and give you the leverage to know that if we can do it, you can do it. The people that come up, they talk about it. Some people don't have, the brightest outcome. But just to go through these things and know that you can get through it is what this platform is really about. It's not really about, the drama side of it. Of course, everyone has their own side and their own story and their own truth. But really, it all boils down to it's about the kids. And so, if your side of the story is just here to badger the other person, but you can't, be accountable and talk about the role you play and what you're doing about it, then it's really not much to say because we're going to hold you accountable. And I think that we already have a reputation for putting people on blast or letting people know that we in particular, because we've been through it, you can't just tell us anything. And so a lot of people like to say we are believing liars and we're providing a platform for people who come up here and don't want to tell the truth. But the reality is we don't know you guys. Like at the end of the day, this is what this is about. You come up, you talk, you tell us what's going on. We're not here to judge you. I mean, it's about you and your family dynamic and your kid and your situation. And so we will tell you what we know, probably from personal experience, as best we can, and how you can navigate the family court system, even though we don't give legal advice, not attorneys, or therapists or anything. But at the end of the day, we're just here to try to provide support. And so that's what it's really about. But yeah, you guys, a lot of people have been supportive in this process. We just now, rolling this out. And I know a lot of people aren't comfortable. They come up, or they say they're gonna come up and then decide not to come up, or however it goes. But we don't have all day. Like, if we gonna talk, we gonna talk. If not, then we would just do something else.
Yeah, because uh, you guys got to stop being afraid to tell you your story, because the only way for us to raise awareness and for this to get out and for it to start making sense to everybody else, more people got to step up, more people got to talk about it. A lot of us, we think that we in this fight alone. We not in this fight alone. If you open your mouth, and I guarantee you, at least 2 out of the 3 people either know somebody or is fighting for their kids. So we just y'all just gotta just keep y'all voice alive, man, because
And don't give up. Like, this stuff can take a long time to get the results that you want. And so that's what we preach about as well. It takes years sometimes, and people are, still fighting, but you gotta have the determination. If it's about your kid, you want the best for them. You want what's right for them. You want to have that voice. And so we that's why we advocate. And so we have a guest that we're gonna have come up. Hi, Sue. Before we bring her up, Sue has been following up the platform for a while. Her situation is a little different, but we'll get into all that once she starts giving a backstory and kind of explaining what it is. Her and she's up because we want to raise awareness that every dynamic is not the same. Like, people already aren't informed enough about parental alienation. They don't even really know what it is. And so she can give it from another angle when we are always saying, like, who's the deadbeat? It doesn't always have to be the other parent that's doing deadbeat bullshit, right? It can be family members. It can be anybody who has authority over a situation and they abuse their power. And so Sue's story is kind of a highlight of that. And so that's what we're going to get into. So,
all
you
right,
ready, Miss Sue?
all right.
No, but what I am is I'm very grateful for y'all to even have me on this evening. I'm gonna do my best not to get emotional. I want to say before we go any further, thank you for your advocacy and thank you for the work that y'all do, because I stand for the fathers. I stand with the fathers. I'm not with the bitter baby mothers. I don't subscribe to that. I have 6 children in total, 3 biological and 3 bonus. I don't believe in separation and division, but we'll get into all that.
Okay. We appreciate you. And again, thank you for joining us. Um, we just, we're gonna ask you a series of questions and give you an opportunity to kind of tell everybody what you've been going through, you and your baby, for the last 5 years, I think it is, or whatever.
6.
So your name, Sue.
Mm-hmm.
That's
My name is
How
six.
old are
Sue.
you?
My name is Sue, and I'm from Essex County, New Jersey.
How old are you?
I'm 45.
Okay.
That's okay.
I
You don't look
I didn't
it. It's
expect that one.
okay.
I didn't expect that
You didn't
question,
expect
so
that one.
nah, I didn't
It's
see that one
okay.
coming. But I'm a proud. I'm
Okay.
45. Thank God I don't look like what I've been through or what I'm going through. I don't think so. I think
Yes,
I think we
and
carrying this stress. I think we carrying this heavy load
Oh
very
kind of
yeah,
well.
most definitely.
gracefully.
Very
So
well. So,
thank you.
how many children do you have?
Okay, so I have 6 children is what I consider myself having, which is 3 biological children and 3 bonus children. So I
Okay.
have and I have what I call my junior squad and my senior squad. So my senior squad is my 25-year-old, my 24-year-old, and my 22-year-old. My
Okay.
junior squad is the 12-year-old twins and my 8-year-old son.
So when we speak on parental alienation, I'm assuming it's the your 8-year-old son and the bonus children that you speak of that are being alienated from their dad
Absolutely.
by a legal guardian because their father had some health issues and now he's not able to pretty much make his own decisions. Correct?
To an extent, yes, correct. But I can definitely elaborate on that. But yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it.
Okay,
So
so before we get into that, just a little quick backstory about you and your child's father. How long did you date?
we were together for 15 years before I had his child and 17 years before he got sick.
Okay.
We had, I don't know if you've ever familiar with anybody that's dealt with a street dude. So it was a very interesting dynamic. So I'll say 17 years cumulative, but we were always more on than we've ever been off. So
Were you guys split up when he had the health issue?
no, ma'am. We were residing together. We were raising our child together. There was no courts involvement. There was no child support, nothing. We were two people in a relationship, raising our child, blending our families, and living our life,
And
basically.
how old was your son when this happened?
He
When
was 2 years old. Skylar was 2 years old.
So
Okay,
y'all,
so
so y'all only have one child together, right?
We have one child together. So this
Okay.
is the funny thing about my boyfriend. His name is Yusef Davis. And the funny thing about him is he has 4 kids by 3 different broads, all born in February. Now, how he finessed that? 4 kids, three
Yeah.
the
different women,
universe.
all in February. So when I had
Oh
our
yeah.
son, he was like, you know, you're never getting another Valentine's Day present ever again. That's your Valentine's Day. Because, like, all these February babies, and he just like, it's not happening. So
So how was the dynamic with him and the other children in your, like, was there any baby mama drama, or was it pretty blended and pretty cool before this incident?
honestly speaking, this man to have not had a father of his own coming up as a child, he exemplified a very dedicated, devoted, active, present father. When he was in the streets, yeah, he might be in the streets, but he had his son. He brought his son home to us. When he came in from working, his son was there. With his older twin daughters, with his twin daughters, we would have those children for a month at a time because the mother lives out of state. So they'd come up to New Jersey. We'd have those girls for months at a time. So I personally feel like I can't say that there was any. I mean, of course, there's always going to be some personality conflicts. There's always going to be some type of, everything's not always going to be smooth sailing. But as far as drama, I didn't deal with none of that.
And he was an active father to all of his
A
4 kids.
thousand to his 4 children and my 2 children as well.
Okay.
So this man,
Which is his bonus.
which is his bonus children as well. The only
Okay.
thing is, all the time that we shared together, we never married. And here in New Jersey, common law marriage is not recognized. So,
Okay.
but he was with my older daughters before he had children of his own. So I came into the relationship with 2 kids. He came into the relationship with nothing. And he loved me and he accepted me and he accepted my daughters. So that's what got us into a 17-year relationship. When a man can bypass your past and accept you and love you. And he never treated my daughters mean, no matter what me and him were going through. He was never. He loved those girls. He was the person when I had the baby, he came because my son was born in Atlanta. I'm getting ahead of myself. My son was born in Atlanta. He came down to Atlanta and stayed with us for a month.
Is
He's
that
the one
when
that,
you guys were kind of separate? Because I know you were on and off. So was that like
well, no,
kind of off?
well, my thing is this. I will never be, I'm too much woman to be one of many. I'm the only one. So when I detected that there was a love triangle going on, you're not ping ponging in and out of my bed. I'm good. That's how you get all kinds of germs. You know
Was
what I'm
it
saying?
with the other baby mothers or just other
This
somebody else?
the other baby mother before she was the mother. Before she
Okay,
was the
so
Okay.
mother.
that's how the kids came. Like
That's how the
basically,
kids came
he
about because
had
I
babies.
left. I left and
Okay.
put distance between us. When we started, we met when we were 20, 21 years old. We met at a job. It was what it was. This man was never supposed to consume 22 years of my life. Honestly speaking, I saw you guys post something earlier about how people don't always want to admit how the children got here, and it might have been when it's not really well, this was supposed to be and
Right,
next
because
thing you know,
I was gonna ask, was it you cleared it up before I could even ask that you guys were in a long term relationship, but that was gonna be the question. Relationship, situationship, one night stand, and I know
let
you
me tell
guys
you
never married.
something. I have done 2 periods of incarceration. Incarceration. Ooh, I'm tired. I need some caffeine. I did 2 bids with him. Edit
Right.
that part out. I did 2 periods of incarceration
This
with him.
is live, girl.
Well, when you repost it, girl.
It is what it is. I got
We
you.
But
all
even
human. We all human.
no, this was not a situationship. This is you hear his my name rings bells to this day. You hear Seth, you know about Sue. Regardless, whatever may have, we're human. We err. You know what I mean? I don't fault him. You know what I mean?
It
Sometimes
happens. Like,
it happens, and
relationships.
bigger than that, it's not how you deal with the situation, it's how you move past the situation.
I
And as
think I think I kind of got confused when you said you had the baby in Atlanta and he came there. So I'm thinking about the youngest, your son
Mhm,
that you have with him, who's 8 years old. And so
mhm.
when you left, when it was some
I left New
infidelity.
Jersey. I'm gonna make it really easy for you. When I met him, he had a chick. I became the side bitch. Just being fully, and they say the same way you get them is the same way you lose them. So when I first met him, he was with somebody, but he had been cheating. It just seems like no one else could hold his attention. So we started dealing. He went to jail. We met in 2001. He went to jail from 2003 to 2005. Again, dealing with a street nigga is a street man is a very complicated, convoluted situation. It's not strawberries and whistles and
Right.
cupcakes and
So
lollipops.
get
It's
us
challenging.
to the
So
birth of the baby. Like,
okay, so with that relationship, there was infidelity. And so I put distance between us. I went down to Georgia in 2010. We still maintained communication. He went to jail again 2013 to 15. It was while he was incarcerated. Maybe it was jail talk, but either way it goes, we got back together and we reunited.
okay.
And it was in 2015. My son is actually a halfway house baby. So while he was on work, really, it's the truth. This is my
Man,
truth. You said this is a
them
platform for me
It's
to share my
life,
truth.
right?
man be incarcerated, boy. They so know how to sweet talk 'em,
They
Not
boy.
at all. He had me before he went to the building.
Oh, I hear
Yeah.
that.
He
Yeah.
had me. He had me from day one. This man changed my life. He made me demand my respect. He taught me to value myself. He
That's
taught
what's
me
up.
certain things. My daughter's father was active in their lives, but he wasn't teaching them shit. This man
Mm.
came, some daddies are nurturing, some daddies is free babysitters on the weekend. It is what it is. This man came into our lives and he taught and he built us up, regardless of his lifestyle choices, regardless of his entrepreneurial endeavors. So when it was
Okay.
2015, I got pregnant with the baby. I was living in Georgia. We were doing the long distance thing because he was incarcerated. So I had already been
Okay.
out.
So that's what put the distance between you guys. And
Right. I
so,
moved. I moved to Georgia in December 2010 because I was like, again, I wasn't going to be a part of a love triangle. And once I caught wind of it, and once it was like just too blatant, I'm not. I'm not playing. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing
okay.
that. So I
So,
removed. I gracefully. I bowed out gracefully, and I removed myself from the situation. And
okay.
so
So let's
mhm.
let's fast forward so we don't get sidetracked on the relationship, because we really got to talk about this parental alienation part of things, right?
This is a whole different type of parental alienation that no one is familiar with because I am the child's mother. So we're most accustomed to bitter baby mothers. Now he can't see the baby, or deadbeat fathers that are just not. This
Right.
is not that. This is not that in the least bit. This is a whole total third party interfering with our parental relationship with our child.
So
Walk us through
yeah, go ahead.
what happened. Sorry, babe. What happened the day you got the call? You found out that he, had went through this health
Okay,
thing
so
that
that's a
changed
that's
you
a real
guys' lives
that's a
forever.
really good question. And the first lesson, I watched a few of your other lives, and you always ask, what's the purpose and what do you want to get out of this?
Hmm.
The first thing I want to teach is mind the words you say to people, because you never know when those are going to be the last words you say to people. And he and I were having a very nasty argument. We were
Okay.
beefing. We were beefing hard. So I had him blocked. I wasn't talking to him. I've never been the type of woman that's you can't see your kid, you can't see your kid. But we can dive into later about why I would always be hesitant and a little bit resistant about him taking the baby. And I feel my feelings are warranted. But we can get back into
Okay.
that.
Yeah, we'll get into that because that's very
Absolutely.
important. Even just what you said, like, that's a great tip on co-parenting,
Be
right? Because a
careful
lot
what
of
you speak.
times, yeah, a lot of times parents don't get along and they don't realize that, like you said, you don't never know what can come out of that. And then you're in this position and it's nothing you can do. So you had a nasty argument with him, and then the next
Well,
thing you know, he's
Yusuf
hospitalized.
had a pre-existing condition, so this was not his first heart attack. He had
Okay.
been having heart attacks since 2007. He was only
Man.
39 in 2018 when he had this life-altering heart attack. And that was the one that was debilitating. And from the heart attack, he had the stroke. From the stroke, he had suffered a traumatic brain injury. So
Man.
the day I got the call, we were beefing, and I was actually out of state visiting family. So I get the phone call, like, where you at? You at the hospital? I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? At the hospital for what? Seth had a heart attack. It's not looking good. And I'm just like, you know, my whole, like everything just, we've always been the type, no matter if we're beefing or not, if something important comes up, fuck all that shit. Like if we were beefing and he goes outside and he gets locked up, come get him. Go get me. Come get me. We'll figure the rest of that shit out later. Right. But come get me. So this was no different. This was, you know, I hear that he's in a duress, basically, and I need to get there. So I'm trying to call. I'm calling people. His mother had restrictions on him. So because, yes, we shared that 15-year relationship at that point. Excuse me, the 17-year relationship at that point, we weren't married. And so here's another lesson, boys and girls. If you love that girl, marry that girl. Because marriage is not just a piece of paper. Marriage is not just, ooh, we had a nice wedding. Ooh, I got the ring. No, marriage is entitlement. There are certain rights. There are certain privileges. There are certain benefits to being someone's legal wife on paper. And being that I didn't have any of that documentation, naturally his next of kin, which was his mother, became his healthcare proxy, basically the person that's calling all the shots. So
she took over.
Say again? Yes, absolutely.
And to add to that, yeah, like you got to get married because nobody ever calculate that something is going to happen to somebody. We never calculate that. And if you don't want to get married,
okay, some people are just so opposition against marriage. Make sure you have your advance directives in place. Your healthcare proxy,
especially your power when you have attorney. Children.
Yes.
Once children come in, it is not about you. Like, you have to set this stuff up to protect your child, right? And so we all go in this stuff blindly, right? So it's not that you are any different from anybody that ended up in a situation that they couldn't have ever predicted, right? But these are key points. Once you know that you're gonna be having a family or even just a kid with somebody, that changes everything. You have to start planning ahead for the impossible and unexpected of anything.
But the thing about guardianship is those advanced directives can be completely disregarded. So yes, you can have your healthcare proxy appointed. You can have your POA appointed. And the judge can totally say, yeah, I don't find that person suitable. I'm going to appoint this person. Us being married would not necessarily have safeguarded us from this situation. I know it wasn't meant for me to be his wife at that time, because your wife is going to do what you want her to do. Your mother's going to do what you need her to do. And so had I been his wife at that time, knowing that this is not the quality of life that he'd want to have, he wouldn't want to be dependent or reliant on anybody. This is a very proud man. He doesn't want anybody to see him when he's broke, let alone broken. So had I been his wife, we probably wouldn't even be here. We'd be going to see daddy in the graveyard every so often, because I know he wouldn't want this. So he needed his mother to keep his body alive, but he needs his woman to give him his life back. So
even hearing this, right? She's a mom. She took over medically, whatever. We like, how do we get to the point that you can't allow this man to see anybody, any of his children, so what? Like, how are we there? Was there already some bad blood between you guys? Like, what?
Bad blood, child. Let me tell you. So this woman would be so hot and cold to me over the years. Mind you, like I said, we were 15 years in when I had the baby, 17 years in when he got sick. So his mother it's always been wishy-washy. I remember the first time I called him, and the first time I called him, his mother I'm like, hello, can I speak to you? Click, hung up in my face. Her reputation preceded her. And she had a very nasty, I know everybody throws the word narcissist around a lot, but that was the textbook definition. This, when you talk about employing the flying monkeys, the whole gambit. So from the onset of his illness, from the moment he got sick, his mother locked him down like Obama.
So
Like,
let me ask you this.
yeah.
I like to keep, dive in deep. So I want to know the real. So, do you think it's possible that she knew that you was the side chick starting off your relationship?
Of course she did. But by the same token, 15 years in, that's none of your business. And however we began our relationship, I mean, we had moved so far past that, because at the 15-year mark, when he did that second period of incarceration, me and his mother were like this.
Okay.
Because he was locked up all through my pregnancy, I was 36, 37 when I had our son. So I was considered a geriatric pregnancy. So I had to go through all kinds of genetic testing, all kinds of weekly doctor's appointments. I couldn't call him afterwards. I would call his mother. And his mother was my rock until I challenged a decision that she wanted to make. She wanted to name our son something from the Bible. His father wanted to name him, I'm going to ride with my man. Whatever he wants, we were going. And from that moment, I remember when we told her that we were going to name our son Skylar, excuse my language, but she said he's going to be a little faggot and a little sissy. And I was 10 weeks pregnant.
Our own grandson?
Yeah, that's
Because she wanted us to name him Seth from the Bible. But there's a block out here in Newark that has a similar spelling to our son's name. And his father, being a street nigga, wanted, whatever. So I'm like,
so she wanted him to be a junior? Is that what it was?
No, he's not. No, he's not a junior. His father's name is Yusef. So no,
Yusef. Seth. Yes, got it.
Right. Okay. So his mother just wanted to name him Seth. But that's not because to emulate his father. It's because it was something from the Bible.
Got it.
But that's too much control.
Right.
It's y'all kids. Y'all can name y'all kids whatever y'all want.
And I rolled with my man. And that was the first, I guess you want to say, the first time I slighted her, so to speak. And that was when the baby was 10 weeks old. I mean, when I was 10 weeks pregnant, and you're already calling him a faggot and a sissy. So that was like, strike one. So then go through the pregnancy, every doctor's appointment, I'm calling her. I love you, Miss Ruth. I love you. And she's like, I love you more, daughter. I love you. Like, total love bombing. I used to live in Georgia. When I come to New Jersey, I had a key to the house. When she came to Atlanta, she slept in my bed. She knew I was pregnant before he knew I was pregnant, because she was at my house when I peed on a stick. And when I told her, mind you, it wasn't that I wanted his baby. I wanted a son for years. And we had previous pregnancies that were terminated because I was always very apprehensive about procreating with this family. I'm very intuitive. I saw how they dragged.
What were the signs? What were the signs?
I watched how they dragged the first baby mother through the mud. That little boy, the oldest child, who he's now 22 going on 23, when he was a child, he didn't even call his mother mommy. He called her Nikki. And his father and his grandmother would do things to perpetuate that disrespect of his mother. And his father, Yusuf, would be like, if you don't behave, I'm going to send you to Nikki. I'm going to send you to Nikki. I'm like, you can't do that. Like, that's not good. And the little boy always, he was very, very, very present. No matter where Seth was, he had a son right close by him. Always. Which was a gift and a curse, because that boy was exposed to far too much. And then his grandmother would say horrific things in this boy's presence, speaking about his mother, the other children's mother, myself. One time she called us all whores and prostitutes. Now, what we do? Love your son? I'm a whore for loving your son. Your son is nothing to write home about. It just is what it is. You love who you love. You really don't, make that determination. You can't decipher that.
So what made you, after seeing all these red flags, what made you move forward?
Go ahead and have that baby. Go ahead and have that baby.
Yeah, because I mean, don't think I'm judging, because I'm dumb too.
Because she and I were at such a beautiful place. She and I were at such a beautiful place up until I was 6 months pregnant. When I tell you,
it was already.
Yeah, I don't have a good relationship with my mother, and I'm a firm believer that every Black woman needs a strong, older Black woman to look up to seek advice from. So at certain points, she became that for me when me and her were cool. But when Yusuf came home from jail, I was already 6 months pregnant. And when he came home from jail, you would have thought that her man came home instead of my man came home. And that was the beginning of the end. That
Was he
first
her
week,
only son
Or
yes.
child.
or
Yeah,
child? Yeah.
only son, but she also has a daughter, which is the guardian, which is the
Okay,
person
so
that's
we'll
preventing.
get to
Yeah.
that.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just
Right.
curious about her and Yusuf's relationship. Was it that
It was
relationship where the
always,
mother makes the son like do everything, or was it
I don't know if y'all know this, but y'all cut out.
All right, there
okay?
we
We
go. We
back.
back.
Sorry for
I
that.
was gonna be patient. I'm
Technical
just gonna
Yeah.
difficulty. and
First
listen,
time for
and if
everything.
it happens again, just because it's a new
listen.
thing. So
I'm grateful for y'all. So I was gonna see. I was gonna be like, and
Oh
I
yeah,
was
no, we
just gonna
about to get
wait. And I
into
was
it.
we're about to dive deep because it's a lot. It's a
Yeah, it's a
lot,
lot.
and we don't, so that it don't get too long winded because
mm-hmm,
when people want to know certain things, and we
mm-hmm.
get caught up in just trying to tell everything. It's so much that you try to condense it, and then we'll be on here forever. So, just to kind of fast forward to her being restrictive. So, why? Okay, it's one thing to not want you to be able to see Yusuf, but why not your son? Once he was born, did she ever meet him? Was he ever
No, ma'am.
around her?
Okay, good question. So the first time she met my son, the baby was 2 months old. Mind you, when I gave birth to Skylar, Yusuf came down to Atlanta and he stayed with us for about a month. While he was there, I'm nosy as fuck. I'll be the first person to admit it. I don't like not insecure. I'm just nosy. It's not even that I'm thinking about other bitches. I don't like not knowing. I don't like not being the only person in the know. And especially with conversations with his mother, I want to know what y'all talk about. You know what I'm saying? When he came down to Atlanta, because he had just came home from jail, so he didn't get an opportunity to get himself established yet. Plus, we were spending an apartment together because once I had the baby, it was already decided that I was going to move back to Jersey.
Okay.
So he was living with his mother. The man walked out the building to so much responsibility. His twin daughters, which were 4 years old at the time, were already here in Jersey. The mother dropped them off like 2, 3 days before the man even came out the building. He was working full time and he had a baby on the way. Tremendous pressure. Didn't even get a chance to establish himself, but he did what he had to do. But
Right.
he was dependent and he was relying on his mother. He was living with his mother at the time. And not when he got sick, just as soon as I had the baby. As soon as I had the baby. So when he came down to Atlanta, she was threatening, don't come back here. I'm throwing all your stuff out. Don't bother coming back. Texting him things like that. He was very upset. This man's coming to see his baby be born. There was no.
But why
I'm
the control? Just because she couldn't
I'm
stand
telling you.
you?
As soon when I tell you that when he came home that first weekend he came home, it was like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. That shit hurt my feelings so bad. And I don't like people are always like, oh, you and his mother have a thing. I don't have a thing with no fucking body. She has a thing. She
So
had a
let me
thing.
ask you a question. Was you like when he was incarcerated, was y'all like was you like her ride or something to go see him or something like that?
I was the person going to see him.
So
I was
she
the
never was like
she
piggybacking off of you or anything like
no
that?
sir. No,
Or
if you
saying that you weren't supportive? Did she feel like you didn't do whatever it is
there's
she
there
wanted you to
there's
do?
no more I could have done other than catching a case and been in the building with him. There's no
Okay.
more that I could
Cause
have done.
I was just trying to figure out like was she trying to build this close relationship with you to, get rides to see her son or something? Like what
No,
was
sir.
her
It wasn't
motive
nothing. I
to
wasn't
just
even in
flip
New
like
Jersey. I
that?
wasn't even in New Jersey at the time.
That's
He was
crazy.
locked up. He was locked up here. I was in, like I said, it has been a very on again, off again relationship with me and his mother. If she's mad at him, she's mad at everybody. prime example, and this is gonna be a little embarrassing, but during his first bid back in 2003 to 2005, we got caught doing it in the halfway house bathroom, and he got sent back to jail. His mother calls me, "What type of woman are you?" The type that don't tell your son no.
Yeah.
Why?
I mean,
I didn't. Do you think I coerced him? Who do you think was applying the pressure to get some ass in a halfway house?
Exactly. Like,
So her,
I mean, it just kind of feels
anytime
like she
her
was
son was really
too
the
involved.
ringleader, and she used to make it seem like everyone else was corrupting him. She just was very much, I can't even, I never encountered evil like this before in my entire life. When my baby, so look, like when you asked, has the baby ever met her? So had the baby in Atlanta. He was down for a month. As soon as he came back, we came back up maybe like 2 weeks later so we can start looking for an apartment so we can get established. The night of my baby shower, the night of my baby shower, she boycotted my baby shower. She encouraged other people to boycott my baby shower, other family members to boycott my baby shower. The night of my baby, I sent the post to you in the DM earlier. The night of my baby shower, underneath, I'm 37 years old. I didn't think I was going to be able to have any more children. Me and this man have been through fucking hell and back. I didn't think we were going to have a baby. I used to be an events planner. I had been dreaming of doing this theme. Never thought I'd be able to do it.
What did she do at your baby shower?
She didn't show. She didn't come. Ironically, the only person that showed is the person that's the guardian now. Ironically. But no, the night of my baby shower, we're at the hotel. I'm going through the gift cards. I'm writing down who gave what, whatever. My cousin texts me and is like, "Sue, delete that shit Yusuf's mother just wrote off of Facebook before I go in on her." And I'm like 9 months pregnant. I delivered the baby February 22nd. My baby shower was January 16th. I'm very heavily pregnant.
February 22nd is our anniversary. By the way.
Y'all the best people in the world. Look at this 222.
Very special day.
Look at that.
Yeah.
So look, and y'all know about the angel numbers. You know about the angel. You know about the spiritual awakening and what these numbers represent.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's why my son. That's why I know we're going to make an impact, and that's why I know we're fitting to make a difference. But I digress.
So
the
fast forward.
The night of the baby shower.
Because she is just.
Wait a minute. The night of the baby shower, so I'm very big and pregnant. We're in a hotel. I'm counting up my loot. Like, oh shit, I came off. Didn't think anybody was going to support us. Nobody wants you to do a jail bid with anybody. No one wants you to be the girl, the ride or die girl. They look at you like you're stupid. Why don't you leave?
True.
Nobody can understand to this day, no one understands or comprehends my loyalty to this man. It's unfathomable. So the night we're in I didn't think we were going to come off like that. We got a lot of stuff from his. The love is tremendous. I pick up my phone. His mother talking about some mother's jailhouse baby. Maybe I told your whole ass. You think you're better than the other baby mothers. In fact, you're worse. This is on Facebook. This is on a post of me pregnant, showing my belly, thanking my guests for coming. And she goes,
right. I saw the post. I just was confused because I'm like, what is prompting her to respond to you like this?
When I tell you that I was minding my own Black-owned business, trying to be elated because me and this man are finally gonna have a fucking bit. I done accepted every other bitch's baby. I done accepted, and now I'm finally getting my son. I was elated. I didn't have a mean. She started acting funny. Like I said, that first weekend that he came home from jail, that's when it switched. The second incident was, I'm trying to ask her for addresses and names so I can send invitations, and she's telling me, just let me be a guest, or basically she wasn't trying to be involved, because she couldn't control it. She didn't want to be involved at all. So, and that was her demeanor and overall attitude.
Go ahead.
So let's get into the part of the alienation part of it.
It started as soon as he lost consciousness, and he was in the hospital. The June 26th was the day that he had June 26, 2018 was the day that he had the heart attack. From that moment that he lost consciousness, his life was no longer his own. This was before the inception of guardianship. This was just his mother locking him down. I called her. She cussed me the fuck out. I called her. I called the sister. Oh, Sue, I don't want to get involved. You know, me and my mom, we're not in bed. No one was willing to advocate from this child. And that was from the time he was 2. And here we are 6 years later, and no one is willing to sacrifice or sabotage their access or their relationship or their
Right.
access to you.
They're not helping. They're part of the problem.
Not at all. They're complicit in the problem because they're acting like, oh, that's his sister. She ain't doing. But if you know this man, there's no way in the world that this man would fuck me. Take like this has nothing
I
to
was
do
gonna
with me.
ask you that next. Like, why couldn't it just be like, hey, look, I'll bring the baby. I don't have to even be a part of it. Can my son just see his father?
You must didn't listen to the audio that I sent you.
I did with all of the verbal abuse and all the nastiness. I heard it all, but
that you mean
I'm
that was the
asking
male?
these
Are you talking about the
questions for
man?
the audience. I
No,
know
I know.
some
No,
stuff.
I'm just saying. You talking about the male voice or the female voice?
The female voice.
Because she blatantly, I definitely, I don't read the Bible, but I know the story about this is my baby, split the baby in half, and who really loves each person gets a half of the baby. I was willing to sacrifice my access to him in order for my child to see him. I have 17 years worth of memories. I could close my eyes and I could think of something. I could smell a smell. I could hear a song, and that man is embedded in me. I did ask for my child to be able. I have 2 adult daughters that man raised. He absolutely, I would never drop my baby off over there. That's what I was trying to say with his mother's demeanor. That woman referred to my son as that bitch's bastard and told him to never cross her threshold with him ever again. I was trying to tell you about that. That was the first and only time he ever met her.
How old was Tyler?
So you said
2
you see your
months.
son?
2 months. He was 2 months.
Came with the baby to visit.
Yes.
And this is how this worked out.
Absolutely. This was the first time. That's what I was saying.
How did he feel about this? Like, what was his take on it before he had, got in a position?
That's crazy.
I hate to refer to anybody as a mama's boy, but you know what I'm saying? He would his way to deal with his mother would be to ignore her. So that's like a bad child. If you don't discipline a child and you don't correct that behavior is going to perpetuate. And then
he really can't correct her though, because that's his mother. So he probably.
But by the same token, he could
have
checked her. He could have definitely
set some boundaries. Definitely,
yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely could have set some boundaries.
He probably just didn't know how, and that's unfortunate. Yeah. Because she basically set the tone for where we are today, to ruin everybody that he potentially loved, all his kids. Somebody he was in a deep relationship with. These are people that should be a part of his life still today.
Absolutely.
So what do you think the motive was? Do you think it was because of you, or do he have some money or something that she's trying to get?
In adult guardianship abuse, money is always the motive, in my opinion. And I'm not talking about... Would
you be entitled to any of that, having a child that she wanted to...
My son is his heir.
Okay.
And we've taken genetic testing. Okay. So this is a demonstrated bona fide. My son has pedigree. Okay. And I didn't ask to take the DNA test. She forced it upon me when we went to the family court matter. Like,
so when did you know that you had to go to family court? Let's start from, okay, he's incapacitated. Okay. So she's doing all the legal stuff and stopping everything, right? And so you're already knowing you're not going to get anywhere.
Let me stop you right there. I had no knowledge of him being in an adult guardianship until after his mother passed away. I thought his mother...
she passed?
Oh, yeah, his mother's dead.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man.
Dead as hell.
And that's where somebody else took over, and then somebody else took over, and they're not even making the situation any better. And that's the part that's really confusing. I know we're going to get to it, but...
That's the part that's really confusing to me as well. That's the part that baffles me as well, because
why are they transferring this energy?
If it was what I was finna say is, if it was the mother on the bullshit should have died with the mother. But because Yusef is potentially going to be worth a lot of financial gain in the immediate future, And if you have any familiarity with guardianship, isolation is the number one tool. Because I think this has absolutely nothing to do with my baby. Because I asked for supervised visitation. I offered not to be the individual to accompany the baby. I'm never going to send my son into no unfamiliar environment. But I have two adult daughters, and either one of them could have accompanied that child, and it was still blatantly refused. So, yes, the mother absolutely set the tone. His mother set
So
the
what
tone.
about his other kids? Do they get to go over there?
Well, his eldest son is incarcerated.
Mm.
In my opinion, due to the undue influence that the guardian is utilizing, I don't believe that Yusuf is even aware that his eldest son is incarcerated. And he's been locked up for 3 years. So that's one child he's been alienated from 3 years. Yes, he's an adult, but your father is your father is your father is your child. And there's no reason why he can call us and I can accept I can accept the jail call. We were going on the visit to go visit him frequently. So an inmate has more rights than a person that's been deemed incapacitated and adjudicated in the guardianship. And that's fucking wild because this man committed no crimes. His
So what is
only
his
crime he
state?
committed was living.
Yeah, is he of sound mind and body? Like what's
Well, from what I observed on body cam footage, because I had a wellness check performed, um, no one has saw him at all this entire year of 2024.
What?
I can show you a text message right now that I just texted one of his homeboys the other day. And I'm like, I heard something about Seth. You know what I mean? Can you elaborate? Can you give me some more information? This motherfucker texts back, he good. Come to find out, he hasn't seen him in 10 months. How the fuck you know he's good? And if he hasn't seen his kid, how good is he?
right? Like what?
And what about his homeboys? Is they coming to check on your son?
Yo, you about to make me cry. Absolutely not.
Mm.
Absolutely. And you know what? I'm gonna say fuck my baby. It's his oldest child that they should have wrapped their arms around that boy. He wouldn't be sitting in a fucking pen right now. That it was the older boy that had a whole lot more involvement with his father and his friends. That they should no, absolutely not. Just recently I connected with a different friend set and they asked me what size my son wore, and that brought me to tears because no one has been supporting this child. I'm not eligible for child support because he only receives Social Security, and that's not considered countable income.
What?
So okay, so right now, who's the guardian?
The guard. Okay, so going back, he got had a traumatic brain injury in 2018. 2019 and 20 he was basically just recovering. At one point his life was sustained by feeding tubes, breathing tubes. He couldn't walk. He had to all this is third party information because I personally haven't seen him. I haven't been able to hold his
How
hand.
long?
6 years. I
So
have not laid
do you
eyes
know
on
if
this
he
man.
even still alive?
This is what I was asking Adult Protective Services like 2 days ago when I said ain't nobody gonna go over there and check on him. I'm not, this is difficult. I'm not used to or accustomed to dealing with
It's
all these
crazy.
different entities. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
This is
It's like
intimidating.
you're dealing with so many levels of so many things, and you can't even gain access.
No, ma'am.
That's hard to do for anybody. It's like being in a room without a window or a door. Like how far can you get?
Man, that's
My thing is
bad.
this is a very young man. He's only 45 years old. He can make a full recovery if he is surrounded with familiarity and love, in my opinion. But let me just go back. So, okay, so boom. So when his mother was dying in March 2020, I caught wind through the grapevine that he was in a nursing home in a city called Patterson here in New Jersey. I swear to God on my life, I got on Google. He was at the third place that I called. Because I was just calling places like, yes, hi, good morning. Can I speak to Yusuf Davis, please? Oh, no. He was at the third place that I called. That spirit. Come on, 222. That spirit. And I spoke to the nurse or whatever. I let them know the situation. The family won't allow us to see him. And the nursing home staff allowed us to speak to him. And this was a year and a half after his injury. As soon as this man got on the telephone, he knew exactly who I was. He recognized my voice. He told me that he loved me. He told me that he missed me. I told him, I said, see, I told your ass you should have married me. And he said, "You still want to marry me?" And I said, "Absolutely." And he said, "Okay, we'll see when I get out." So in my mind, I think he's conditioned his mind like he's still locked up or something. Like, he's done jail time.
Yeah.
So that maybe that's the coping mechanism, or maybe that's where his mind has diverted to. So
So he can comprehend well, though.
there's cognitive decline from the traumatic brain injury. Excuse me, but it's not like,
You
he
mean
doesn't.
like
He's not in a
stroke? He
vegetative.
had a
He's
stroke.
not in a vegetative state.
He had a
He,
stroke though, right?
yes,
Okay.
it wasn't the stroke or the heart attack that did him in. It was the attendant. Now, y'all pick up on this. It was the attendant falls while he was at a nursing home. So that particular nursing home dropped him. So
Oh wow.
so what do you think that? So when we
Yeah.
said you with me, I don't speak on it. I'm very
I'm definitely there. We're there. Like I get it now. Because at first I just thought it was a stroke and a heart attack. And I'm like, okay, he can go be rehabilitated from those things. And this is on top of that. That's a lot.
that's a lot. And instantaneously. So when again, so his mother was dying in 2020. His mother was dying of cancer, and she was in a cancer hospital. But ironically, 2 days before she died, her will was changed to completely and totally disinherit Yusef and all of his children, leaving everything solely and outright to the sister.
Yeah, she got some money from that fall or something.
Not yet. It's coming though.
Yeah, it's
It's
something.
coming. This is this
So
is
how did you
this.
end up in probate court? What was that about?
Okay, so once I learned that the mother had died, like I said, we were talking. I was talking with me and the baby. Were talking to him daily when he was in that nursing home. I was calling up there. I was trying to get up there, but this was at the very onset of COVID. So they locked that shit
Did any
down. They weren't
restrictions?
letting
Yeah.
anybody in. I went up there. We took him a folder of like 60 pictures that I had printed up of he and the baby, he and all the children. So he knows you have a life. Don't let them think that you don't have anybody. So once he was discharged, excuse me, from the nursing home and back into his sister's care, that's when everything got shut down again. And she will no longer allow anybody to speak to him. She won't allow us to see him. I
So
went to
what's the problem with you and the sister? Like I know the money is the motive,
there's
but
never been a
at least allow him to see his baby, right?
there's never I'm gonna tell you how much there never was a problem with the sister, because in 2010 I was day management coordination at her fucking wedding. So that means I was the event planner at her wedding. So that was back in 2010. In 2016, you see on my page and you see this picture that I showed you, the bitch smiling and cheesing like a proud auntie at my baby shower. When we came up to Jersey, she held my son, baby Sue, and cooing and cuddling over my baby. And her last acknowledgement of him was on his third birthday. She called to wish him a happy birthday. And maybe I offended her because I'm like, I thought you were calling with his father. Like, thank you for calling, but bitch, you're not who we want. Give us daddy. We want and what I've done, which I toot my own horn, is I've kept this man alive for this child the entire time. I could have easily stopped talking about the nigga, and the baby was only 2.
Because we were thinking that the question was gonna happen, just not to be callous about the situation, but because you have been stopped every which way. It's taxing, and on top of that, we didn't know Seth's state, right? Yusuf, like where he's at with his health or anything. So I'm like, I don't understand why Stu hasn't moved on. Like, even if you just started dating
You
somebody
about to
or
make me
whatever,
cry.
like, I know this has consumed you because of your baby. I get it, and so I just wanted to give you an opportunity to ease into that before we just came straight at you with that question, because I know everybody's probably thinking it, that because they just want better for you
Everybody's telling
and
me,
for
oh,
your son.
you need to go on with your life. Oh, you need to let it go. Oh, how do you leave somebody that's been your friend for more than half of your life? Before that's my boyfriend, before that's my baby daddy, before that is my friend. And while everyone else wants to think for Yusef, I'll be the last individual that thinks as him. And there's no way no how, no shape that this man would ever want to be A, left behind, or B, alienated and estranged from his children. So you previously asked, are all the kids alienated? Well, again, the oldest child, he's been incarcerated, and prior to his incarceration, he was already being the aunt was already icing him out, so to speak.
So
When
I wonder why is that? That was my next question.
so when the mother died, the oldest boy had just turned 18 a month prior. The mother died in March 2020. The boy turned 18 in February. The boy was working a third shift job, and he was already trying to cope with his father's disability, which I'll personally say it's very hard seeing your knight in shining armor knocked off his horse. And I've never personally fucking seen him. I've just seen pictures. Or I saw, like I said, I saw him on the body cam footage. And to see him walking around like fucking Kaiser Sose with a damn cane, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, so I can only imagine it was very difficult for his son. I'm not making excuses. I'm just,
I saw some pictures of him like out and about, like, with the suit on.
That was his son. That's a whole nother topic. That was his son's high school graduation. That was an outdoor graduation, and he would never wear anything that was inappropriate for the climate. It was 80 something degrees, 85 degrees in July. Why the fuck he got on a net? He don't wear church clothes. This man,
I was just thinking that he was possibly bedbound, but when I saw that, I'm like, no, he's able to get around. So that
if you look at the last photos that I saw of him actually at home and about were in January 23, because his daughters came up from out of state and they were allowed to visit with him, but they weren't allowed to spend the night. So they had
what did they? How did they say that was like? Did they say he was cognitive and just alert?
Well, what they said primarily was that Auntie Guardian, which is what I call his sister, I call her Auntie Guardian, that she was basically surveilling the whole visit. They didn't get any one-on-one time with him. He was sent to bed after a certain while. They hadn't seen his kids in 4 years. They couldn't spend a fucking night.
How did they say he responded to them?
Their older sister, we all sat down and talked about it after, they came and brought the girls over, because after they couldn't spend the night with their father, their mother brought them over to me. Now, mind you, I'm not the guardian saying that I'm not their stepmother and she's not aware of me being his long-term girlfriend, but their mother brought the twins to me.
Is that the post you put where your son was so distraught because he had to say goodbye to them after not seeing them after 5 years?
Absolutely.
And so I was gonna get to that too, because that's a lot as well. Like, how did you and that? I guess you and that mom, it wasn't any problems. You guys are just really
well. Remember the beginning when I said the same way that you get him is the same way you lose him. So I lost him to her. You know what I'm saying? He cheated on me with her. That's when I left the state, and they wound up having the twins. And he hid the twins from me for about a year. So I was oblivious till he even had children, other children. I knew about his son my whole entire. I used to raise his son. Like
and then when you guys got back together, that's how Skylar was born. But it wasn't no beef between you and that baby mother even back then.
I mean, back in the day, before Skylar, before the twins, when I found out he was running around with her, yeah, we bumped heads. We never fought.
Well, it's good that y'all got past
y'all
that.
Fought?
We never fought. No, we never fought.
You never fought.
No, we never fought. We never
say, girl, you put your hands on people that. No,
let me tell you something. There ain't no bail in New Jersey. I don't touch nobody. There's no bail.
Didn't know that.
We are a bail reform state, and that's the reason why I don't go over there pounding on the door. Let him see his father. I play this. I have been very passive. If you ask somebody, I've been very unsue-like, because my reputation. I think that's why he was so attracted to me, because just the same type of nasty bitch his mother can be. I think you guys can tell I got an attitude on me at times. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a saint, but by the same token, leave me alone. I'm the nicest person. I'm a Cancer. I don't know if y'all into astrology. Don't start, no, won't be none.
Right, we don't mess with nobody who don't mess with us first.
Just don't leave me alone,
because you're not gonna like how I play back.
Just leave me alone.
That's my favorite.
So let me ask you this. So why wasn't the son like? Because after the mom died, the older son would be considered the next of kin.
Thank you for bringing me back. Because as I was saying, the boy was having a hard time coping with his father's illness. So he was already the beginning stages of a self spiral, in my opinion. And so when the grandmother died, he was already somewhat, I don't want to say estranged with the grandmother, but the grandmother, Yusuf's mother, was very demanding. So if she wanted him over there to come help her, and he didn't want to come when she wanted him to come, then it's a problem. So he was already kind of like not speaking to his grandma right before she died, and then she died. And none of the children attended the grandmother's funeral. His Yusuf's sister woke his oldest child up out of a dead of sleep. He was working a third shift job at FedEx at the time. This is the story that was conveyed to me. Let me say that for legal purposes. The story that was conveyed to me.
Allegedly.
Well, I got it from Yamir, but from the oldest child, but allegedly. So she woke him up out of a dead of sleep and let him know, I need you to sign this paperwork so I can get your father's medication and I can get him out of the nursing home so we can go to the funeral. And when he signed that paperwork, it was unbeknownst to him that he was signing away his entitlement to his father.
Oh, wow.
Through the court, when his mother, at that time, me and his mother were very cool. And his mother called me and his mother was like, yeah, Sue, Auntie Guardian just left. I'm not going to disclose her name because she's a cop calling Sue an ass bitch. And even though facts aren't defamation, I'd rather invest in the litigation that's going to get him back home with us than defending some statements that I made. So, you know what I'm saying?
You got to pick your poison. Definitely.
So she basically popped up over there and had the boy sign the document, and it was unbeknownst to him what he signed. She told him, okay, yeah, I'm going to come back and get you so we can go to the funeral.
Was he 18 yet?
He had just turned 18 the month prior. And so his mother's calling me, telling me, yeah, Sue, Auntie Guardian just left. She had signed some papers. I hit the fucking roof. Like, why the fuck would you let him sign some papers? Did you read the papers? Do you know what the papers were? If you ever wanted to stick it to Yusuf's mother, you just gave away whatever the fuck your son was entitled to. Through the probate court litigation, I've obtained that document. That document wasn't dated nor notarized. So how was that a valid document?
How is it legal?
Yeah, it's not valid.
Because when this all happened, it was at the onset of COVID. And, everyone was scared and everything. We don't know what we're dealing with. Okay, just push this. And push this man into this situation that now 4 years later, it's been the guardian. And she is just as relentless as the mother, if not worse.
Yes, it's definitely a motive there.
It's definitely a motive.
Like, she's gaining something
so
from
when
that.
you've been going back and forth to court, because we've been following your journey since, we found out about this. It's just kind of confusing because typically people go to regular family court. They fight the other parent to get custody.
I've gone through both, and I've been ping-ponged because I'm a very big proponent of going pro se. And for whoever doesn't know what pro se means, pro se basically means you're self-represented in court. So I made significant strides in probate court and family court going pro se. But as soon as they pull them out the nursing home, I go to the house, they don't answer the door. I call the sister, and that's the phone call that you heard where she's like, I'm not
come back over here.
I'm not welcome. Don't come to this house. You're not welcome at this house. Don't return to this house. So then I asked a general question. Okay, yeah, you said that. Yeah, I hear you. What about my son? I don't have to fucking come. And I said it about 10 times. And you could attest to that. I said it about 10 times that I don't have to come. At the time, the baby was only 4 years old. Now he's 8 years old. And he has a much stronger comprehension and a more knowledge. And there's no one better equipped to support my son in the reunification with his father than me. We don't know what type of response it's going to get. We don't know what's going to happen. We would hope for something positive, but we don't know what he's being fed. We don't know what lies, what brainwashing, what manipulation. We don't know shit because no one has had any contact or communication with him. So
go ahead.
So once I learned,
I was just gonna ask how is Skylar doing with, like you say, he comprehends things.
Let me tell you something. My son is more knowledgeable about adult guardianship abuse and adult guardianship than most adults because I've made it my business. I don't want, number one, I'm not getting blamed for this. It's never going to be, oh, you kept me
Do
from
you
my
think
father.
it's appropriate now at his age?
He's been educated on guardianship abuse since he was 2 years old. And as soon as his father got sick, he was asking me, he was 2, what's wrong with daddy? What's wrong with daddy? And I would let him know, daddy hurt his head and daddy hurt his heart. But daddy's so strong. We have to say, get better, daddy. And as he got older, because like, again, I'm not going to be blamed for this. And my son's not going to grow up to think that his father abandoned him when there's a third party that's breeding this parental alienation. It's not my doing.
I can respect that. Like,
so I don't want, if he's not aware and he doesn't understand and comprehend exactly what's going on, we place the blame where the blame is due. It's Auntie Guardian that's in the way.
So let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
So being that you have those legal documents saying that it wasn't notarized or anything like that, is it only you just fighting, or is his other baby mamas or the mother of his kids, is they helping you? Is they trying to fight too as
No,
well?
sir. No, sir. I am a one-woman army. One of the children's mother, the oldest boy's mother has had a baby by another man. So
they're not invested. I can
not at
tell.
all. But
so with that
you would
oldest
think,
son, you really can't do.
But wait, but you would think, especially the twins' mother, since they're minors, you would think that she would be invested because it's having a detrimental effect directly on her daughters. Because that leads me to where you asked, are any of the other children able to speak to him? When those little twins advocated for their little brother and asked, Sky's trying to talk to daddy. Auntie Guardian replies to that baby and tells her to stay in her place. You understand me? She's asking, can her father and her little brother
to his
speak?
son, her brother.
And
so this is abusive to them, and it's tearing up. Like, it's just so much.
It is destroying the relationships that he so lovingly forged with all of his children. This man, I don't give a fuck. You can say what you want to say about him. Nobody can call this man a deadbeat. No one can say he wasn't with his kids. No one can say he doesn't love his children. No one can say there is no one alive. Even those other children's mothers sing his fucking praises. So why aren't they standing with me? Because like you said, they're not as invested. I was the person that was with him for 17 years. You know what I'm saying? The second baby mother, she came in, she came out. The first baby mother, she couldn't hold his attention, she was out. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gloating or bragging. It just is what the fuck it is. It just is what it is.
Is the probate court for Sky, or is it for that eldest son, that issue?
No, ma'am. The probate court matter is for Yusef, because probate court is what governs the guardianship. Okay. So as soon as I learned that his sister was guardian, because I didn't know what was going on, and we had that, she and I had that phone call, and then a month later, her husband called me, and that's what really made me spring into action, because her husband said some very disparaging remarks, talking about some fuck Yusef, fuck his kids, fuck his world. He wants his wife back, and so on and so forth. That man was on the phone with me for 1 hour and 24 minutes. But it was that last 7 minutes that he went on a rampage and a tangent and really expressed himself, because he and Auntie Guardian don't have any children of their own. She's not a mother. So maybe that's, a real key mitigating factor. She doesn't know what it's like to have that life force inside of you and what it feels like when you see your child with their father. It does something to it. It does something to it. It makes it's almost like a completeness.
Yeah, and it's a lot of trauma there too, as well. I would assume, given the history of the mom and how she behaved, the family history, you never know what skeletons are in the closet with that.
Well, I found, honey, let me tell you something. The one thing you don't want to do is fuck with me, because I had nothing but time, space, opportunity. So I have become a whole lawyer, paralegal. The internet is my motherfucking playground. I have been inside.
Oh, baby, I understand.
But I have heard. Well, let me go back. I'm gonna go back to the son. So I think that's key. That son.
But at this point, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but at this point, the whole son is null and void, because now he has a criminal record. So now he'll never be eligible. He can't serve for his father's guardian. So yes, you're absolutely right. It didn't even have to be just him. And here in New Jersey, there can be co-guardians. And they both could have been guardian, and they could have made decisions collectively on their father's behalf. Instead, she got that boy to sign that paperwork and then threw him to the curb and discarded him as well. And that's what caused.
So my question to you.
Ask what I'm about to ask.
So my question to you then, it's not really about him being guardian. It's about if he can prove that document was signed fraudulently,
There's
illegally.
a lot that boy can attest to, but it's putting him in a very difficult position because that's his aunt. And he's the oldest. So he was with her longest. So he still has,
so even though
he's very torn. He's very, and I'm not gonna put pressure on him like that. I wouldn't want him to have to pick and choose. I'm very frustrated with him because that fuck your aunt, that's your father. And these are your baby siblings. So they take precedence over this barren womb bitch. Excuse my language, but it is what it is.
How old is she? Is
47,
she young?
47, and we're 45. But in the probate court pleading, she's saying how she helped raise him. Like the fallacies, the discrepancies, the inaccuracies in these pleadings go crazy. I don't know if y'all ever had anybody lie on y'all. It's not a good feeling.
Plenty of times.
With a custody battle, baby.
It's not a good feeling. So after I had the phone call with the husband, that shook me up. He's stuck in a house with these people with there's no direct phone. There's no direct phone communication with him. He doesn't have a phone. You can't just pop by. He always has to be presented. There's no direct communication. Everything is filtered through the guardian. So
it sounds like some abuse going on there.
What's the next step, Sue?
So let me fast forward through because I know I'm long-winded. So boom. So I found out the sister was the guardian. I wrote a letter to the surrogate court, exemplifying my concerns and documenting my concerns. From that phone call, the judge called a conference call. This woman got lawyers to dig up shit about me I didn't even know existed. There was 2 false police reports filed they're trying to say that I'm volatile, I'm dangerous, I'm disruptive. I tried to run him over with my car. His mother had cameras on the house since 2013. In the county that they live in, you gotta be pretty fucking stupid to fuck around in that particular county because it's one of those counties and they're on it. And I have a lot to lose. And then from my research, come to find out the car that is listed in the police report, I had a Toyota Camry in 2016 through 2019. But his baby mother is the one that had a Chevy Cruze. So that's who's the car that's listed in the damn police report. So maybe they got into something, but they pinned that shit on me. And she's holding it over my head, saying that he tried to get restraining orders against me. I don't know too many street niggas. I don't know too many street niggas that goes to the cops. That's not who he was. He wasn't no cop call. He's never tried to get a restraining order.
Where did these reports come from? Like who?
The mother. 2018. Okay. His mother. They were filed by his mother. When I tell you, I never received a ticket, an appearance, a summons, nothing. I didn't know they existed.
Was you in Atlanta at that time?
No, I was here in Jersey. Jersey. But it was unbeknownst to me. So
is there any way to fight that?
She's dead. You can't file charges on somebody that's dead.
No, I'm talking about the process that she's trying to attack you to stop you from, coming out.
Well, that's the whole probate litigation. So I got the letter. I mean, I wrote the letter. I wrote to the judge. The judge was like, I can't do anything based off of a letter. You have to give me a proper filing so I have something to adjudicate on. I've been quoted anywhere from 50 to 100K to litigate this case.
Yes.
I don't have it.
It's expensive.
I don't have it. And I don't want to get it. If I came into $50,000 or $100,000, I don't think I want to invest it in a maybe. Because you can go, there's still no guarantees. People think, oh, I'm gonna get a lawyer, they're gonna fix all my woes. They're not. They're gonna steal your voice. And they're gonna limit
especially in a situation like this, man.
Probate court is a big question mark. So
honestly, I feel like I kicked ass in probate court. I did not pass the bar. I do not have a college degree. And I was going up against some top litigators. She was paying $400 to $500 an hour. And I ran them for 10 fucking months. So if I didn't do nothing else, I burned her pockets. But I also learned a lot of information. So I have different documents that were produced. So we went through the entire 10 months of probate court and we were headed to trial. And the judge would not look at any evidence or listen to any audio or review anything until we went to trial. We were supposed to do depositions. I had to learn how to write something called interrogatories, notice to produce, all this shit that was foreign. I'm gonna tell you like this. Here's a lesson. Ding. Chat GPT is your bitch. I call her Agatha Indy. She is my auntie.
That's a gem. That's a gem.
Let me tell you something. You feed it the right things, you give it the right prompts. I was a whole call me Susie Esquire. I'm dead serious. Like, I got the job done. But the reason why I withdrew is because they continuously kept challenging my son's paternity. And probate court is not the proper venue to get those genetic testing results. And the judge even had to warn her that she might find herself in a family court complaint because she has a statutory duty to ascertain his wishes and his preferences and allow Yusef Davis to participate in the decision-making process. That is her duty as his guardian. A guardian is not put in place to totally come in and control someone's life. Is there to assist the person, help them regain their independence. And if you can't ascertain their wishes, then you're supposed to defer to whatever they were doing prior to the inception of guardianship. So if I was who he was with beforehand and he wants to be with me, bitch, get out the way. If he was a father to this child and those children, facilitate that.
Right.
If he had a proper guardian, that would be happening. It's not just me. It's not just myself and Skylar that are alienated. I've been getting calls. Friends have not been able to see him. Other family. She's alienated. They had different fathers. So his father's side of the family is all alienated.
Wow.
So,
what?
Wow.
As his guardian, she has the legal right to determine where he lives, his financial aspects of his life, his medical care, who he socializes with, down to his children. So what she's doing is technically legal because she has carte blanche over his life. But if she was a just and fair guardian, she would be doing what he wants to do and allowing him to participate. Hey, Seth, Sue wants to come see you. You want to see Sue? Sue and Sky want to come over. If he says yes, let us the fuck in. If he says no, maybe next time. But that's never happened.
Right.
My son has never had been observed with his father. He has not seen his father since he was 2 years old. So going back, so we went through 10 months of probate court. The judge was the one who said, go ahead and file in family court. No problem, Your Honor. I withdrew from the probate court matter and I filed in family court. Initially, she's, it's not his baby. It's not his baby. I presented a signed birth certificate as well as a paternity acknowledgement that were both signed by Yusef 2 years prior to his disability. Those documents should have been given full faith and credit, and they weren't. What? And I still had to take a fucking DNA test. And I still had to take a DNA test. And here's my son's pedigree.
And he's his biological child. So what the fuck are we talking about?
Biological, tried, true, tested. We don't know about the motherfucking kids, but my baby. Hold on, make this be the thumbnail.
We do. Them your bonus, baby.
The thumbnail. Now you got to smile with it.
No, I smiled on the one where I put the t-shirt on my motherfucking, the results on my t-shirt and wore that shit to court.
So what's going on with that? Are you still fighting in that family?
So, okay, so we went, so first, it's not his baby. Take the test, okay. Where'd they go?
We back.
Okay, I'm here.
They trying to shut us out.
Yeah, they trying to shut us down.
I will not be silenced. I will not be silenced. The movement will not be silenced. But either, okay, so we went to the family court. I'm sorry. First, it wasn't his baby. We took the DNA test. Once the DNA test came back, I don't think it's in his best interest. It's not in Yusef's best interest to have a relationship or visitation. I asked for supervised visitation. In our state, which I'm sure is similar to other states, children cannot request visitation of the parent. The parent has to exercise their parental rights and exercise their rights to parenting time.
Mm-hmm.
This woman said, I have no standing. I'm not his biological family member, and I have no right to assert Yusef's rights to parenting time. Furthermore, she's well aware that family court can't force her to allow parenting time, to force parenting time, and that I'm trying to abuse the system and manipulate the system to get my way. And furthermore, and she also said that family court has no jurisdiction over her because if I don't like what she's doing, bitch, take me back to probate court. So once again, she gave the child support was dismissed because he does not have countable income. She gave me sole legal and physical custody of our baby, which Yusef would never have wanted that. He would never want to not have. He would never have wanted to relinquish his rights to his child. In 10 months or 11 months of family court and 10 months of probate, she never produced him once. That man never sat on he never came into the courtroom. He never sat on a Zoom. She was never forced to produce him. So when you said, is he alive? I hope so. I hope so.
So, all right. So you said he failed, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it's possible that he could be getting paid, right?
I thought she may not be aware that I know about that lawsuit, but again, the internet is my playground, so a lot of shit is public information. And New Jersey courts does an impeccable job of documenting civil litigations.
So let me ask you this. Now, tell me if I'm doing too much, if
You
I'm
ain't doing
getting
shit.
ahead of
Come on.
myself, if you don't
I
want
like
to say
questions.
it, so is it possible once he get the money that you could go after his estate?
Well, what I asked the judge in court, because I don't know what she fucking knows, but I want her to know that I see you, bitch, and I know what you're doing. So what
Okay.
I said in open court,
Is
because
you
the judge
talking
was
to her right now, or?
in my mind.
Oh, okay. I'm just making sure.
So when we're in open court, I started playing Becky Blonde Dum Dum, and I was like, "Well, Your Honor, can I ask a question? Are lawsuits considered countable income?" And then I looked at the bitch, and the judge was like, "Well, I can't give you legal advice, but I'm pretty sure any other source of income." I said, "No problem. Just please make sure when you dismiss the child support, dismiss it without prejudice, so we can refile at a later date. But I don't give a fuck about money. I slept on
Yeah.
I slept on hardwood floors with this man. I ain't sleep on the floor. I slept on hardwood floors with that man. I sat in visit chairs with him. I drove 15 hours from Atlanta, Georgia to Newark, New Jersey to sit in fucking visit chairs with him faithfully. I have taken care of other children, I've taken care of his children by other mothers that when they have referred to me as a bum bitch. And I've always treated their children with love. Those little girls call me mom, got me stored in their phone as mom number 2 right now. So I'm actually doing what the guardian should be doing, which is ensuring that his children have healthy sibling relationships.
Absolutely.
I made sure that even though his oldest son is incarcerated, he's not left behind. That's still my son. I was pulling up on those visits. I did my due diligence. So now where I'm at it right now, I'm back at square one because the family court matter was dismissed. No child support. Basically take your kid and get the fuck out of my face. No parenting time, and it was no child support, no parenting time. She gave me sole custody, and there's something else. I can't remember what the fourth thing was, but either way it goes, it was just a whole bunch of no, bye. And so, and there was no jurisdiction. There's no jurisdiction in parenting time in family court. So now
So
where I'm at with
I
it right
guess
now,
my next question is, if something happens to her, then who's next in line?
whoever, well, in our state, they have a preference over friends and family members as opposed to a public guardian. In a lot of states, they will immediately appoint a public guardian. But because of Yusef's age, in our state, public guardians aren't appointed until they're 65 and over. So I would assume it's whoever's trying to step up and be the person for the job, and I smirk because I'm waiting for something to happen to her.
Not the
Not I
kids.
wouldn't do anything, but I'm very powerful. But I'm powerful as fuck.
Absolutely. And you a Cancer. So the
And he's a
kids.
Capricorn, so we some cardinal signs here. There's some
Yeah,
moon.
Cancer and Capricorn. Cancer
When's
and
your
Capricorn.
birthday?
July.
8th. I'm the 18th. When's your birthday?
January the 11th.
Oh, you a January, boo. We like December. We like December Capricorns. But either way it
Oh
goes, it's like,
man.
y'all ask me, why am I still doing this? I don't know. I didn't know I had this much strength in me. I'm not going to sit here and say that we had like, oh, he was a saint. We had the most beautiful. No, we went through some shit. We went through some shit like anybody goes through some shit. And Auntie Guardian keeps on trying to amplify our relationship problems and saying that every time I say he can't see his father, she attacks me and brings up personal direct attacks. I'm volatile, I'm disruptive, but I'm
She's worse than a bitter baby mama.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Because
why is she fighting that hard?
right,
she's going hard in the paint, and that's why. I mean, my thing is,
well, we know why.
what I think is, I think she knows that if Yusef even catches a whiff, that I still want him, and I still want to be with him, and he could be here with us, and he will not be motherfucking tolerated here. He is celebrated here. All over my fridge. We don't eat without thinking about him. I'm about to cry. We don't eat without thinking about him because his picture is plastered all over the refrigerator. Because my son is not going to not know who his father is because of this woman's inappropriateness as his guardian. So at this juncture where I'm at, I'm back at square one. I started to GoFundMe. I'm about to start selling my merch again. I need a retainer because yes, I could go back pro se, but when I tell you that it was so emotionally draining, my blood pressure was through the roof. My blood pressure was through the roof. I was catching stress hives all over my hives.
I saw your posts. I saw the pictures, and
it was kicking my ass literally.
I wanted to highlight, most importantly, because if you're not here, then that takes two of his parents, right?
Absolutely.
And so that was another factor in why we were just like, what is, why she can't just let it be. But we understand. Like, you don't have to defend that.
I don't even think it has anything to do with the baby. I think it's solely me. I think she solely wants to keep Yusef away from me, and my baby is a casualty of war. But if she was smart, she would have just let us see the baby, and I would have been so tunnel vision, so laser focused on. I used to look forward to those jail visits. I like being around him. I enjoy his company and his presence.
That's what it's about. It's definitely about you.
So but she
knows. You're too headstrong. You're too power driven. It's not. She's not.
I'm not. I don't bend. I don't fold or conform.
And you ain't that gonna run alone is the highest level of any threat. Like, she knows that you won't waver.
What she should have did was she should have fucking asked about me because I'm not going anywhere. And like I said, it was so funny. I said, Your Honor, Skylar's only 8. I have about 13 years to file for child support. How long you got? How long you could ride this ride? Yeah. Because I ain't got shit else.
Especially with malicious intent.
Right. Like you said. Oh, you go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I just was saying that, but I wanted to just I wanted to highlight, that your health is first and foremost, and you taking a break may be what's needed now before you dive back in, because I know this is not exactly the end all.
That's what this has been. This has been my decompression period. But like I said, reconnecting with this different friend set, I've been renewed. And then being that I know what I know about the time frame with that other thing, it's time to get loud. And I'm always fearful about what my efforts how they may affect Yusef. Is she over there? Do we have a case of misery going on over there? And she sees me doing what the fuck I'm doing, and then she goes home and takes it out on him.
Right.
Who knows? There's no eyes on him. No one has
seen. And that's part of the whole parental alienation process. Just the disconnect is torture because you don't. And even though we know that this isn't the typical parental alienation situation, it's very much so giving similar. It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Every moment is bittersweet. So Yusef has missed the baby Skylar's entire preschool career. He's missed about 5 birthdays, 5 or 6 Christmases, 5 or 6 birthdays. He missed the first day of kindergarten. He missed his first tooth. He missed his kindergarten graduation. I threw from I'm again, I'm an events planner. I threw a whole preschool graduation in the park. He could have easily been sitting there watching his son graduate. This baby has such, it's so crazy how they haven't seen each other, but they have so many similarities. And for me, it's torturous because I'm
Yeah.
looking at a miniature version. So when I tell you that how my son is so enthralled with marine life and how intelligent my baby is and how smart he is and how he can retain and recite information and how much he loves Godzilla and dinosaurs and Shark Week. Some of those are the way he stands when he's sitting there and standing in his drawers. It's like I'm looking at his father, but we are not meant to mourn the living. And that's what we're doing.
Yeah, that's the
And
toughest part.
the real gag is he lives less than 10 minutes from us.
Wow.
If I felt ambitious, I could walk there. I could take the bus. I could drive. If I'm driving, it's really only like 5 to 7 minutes. 7 to 9 minutes. Maybe, depending on the traffic.
So. Like,
You've
It's
never
a
heard no shit like this because I feel like I'm living through a badass Tyler Perry bounce Tubi type of like weird Lifetime after school special. I'm caught up in a fucking nightmare. Seriously, you can laugh because it's like if it wasn't my shit, it'd be like, oh shit. And then with all these loops and turns, and we took the DNA test and then we got shut down. And then
it's
like
literally it's a roller coaster ride in the dark with you strapped in backwards.
Yep.
so
That's what it is.
With somebody pouring bleach in your eyes.
so let me ask you this: before you have to deal with this situation, how did you view situations like this when fathers used to always?
I have 2 older children. I ain't never play that shit. I don't believe, I don't subscribe to keeping children from their fathers. I don't subscribe to deadbeat. I don't subscribe to that shit. I used to have the attitude, you think you could do better than take these motherfuckers. You think you could do better than me. Take them. Because I had 2 children by the time I was 21, 22 years old. And they both have the same father. And I was on the bus stop in the cold with my babies. I've always been a very ambitious, tenacious person. I'm going to make it work, and I'm not going to ask you too many times for your help. So I've never viewed or deemed this as okay. I don't associate with deadbeats. If I, pre-Yusef or in between Yusef, if I found out a dude got kids, he's not doing right by his kids, I can't fuck with you. I'm a mother first. Times where Steph was down bad and we might not have our money might not be flowing like it could. Send that girl some money for them kids. I don't care if it's $50. That's gas money. That's milk. That's I know it. So no, yeah. I've always stood for the fathers. I don't condone parental alienation. I don't condone looking at fathers like they're a second-class citizen or they're less than mothers. I hate this man. I hate him because everything is a reminder of him. But he used to say that children need 2 parents because 2 parents breeds balance. And it's very difficult being the disciplinarian and also having to be the comforter. It's hard being the nurturer and then still having to I'm so grateful I work remotely. So I've designed my life for the moment somebody says, you want to take Yusef? Give them to me. I work from home. It ain't going to disrupt shit. But also it makes me available to my son. And it's just I've designed my life around this whole situation. I'm not the fun, happy, joy, Sue no more. I don't sleep. You know what I'm saying?
It's consumed you. That's why.
And no one seems to understand.
How's your support system? Like,
well, my family wasn't really too keen on him before I had the baby because, like I said, dealing with a street nigga is just dealing with a street nigga. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna say there hasn't been no arguments, no cussing, no fussing, no screaming. It is what it is. But this is all pre Skylar. So once we made the executive decision to have a child, all that shit is water under the bridge. It means nothing. So I've never had a strong relationship with my mother, but more so Nobody wants to talk to me because this is all I talk about. I don't have nothing else to talk about. I don't want to talk. I don't want to shoot this shit
Yeah,
on no fluff.
we definitely been
I
there.
understand.
We definitely
Where
understand.
it's like this is my whole and this is
It
my
makes you
life.
feel like a fucking weirdo because they see you
People
coming and they
avoid you
like,
like you got cancer. People
yeah,
avoid you like the plague. People.
yeah.
I saw his homeboy in a motherfucking grocery store yesterday or on Sunday, and I saw him when he saw me coming. Oh nigga, you about to catch it? You should have ran. You should have walked the fuck away because you're gonna hear my mouth.
Listen, I just thank you so much for giving
Yeah.
us this time. We gotta wrap it up. So if it's anything that I think of that's missed, baby, it will be a part two.
We
Okay.
missed a whole bunch of shit. I need a part two.
Well, it's definitely gonna be a part two. But just for the viewers and whoever watches this, we just want to be clear that it can come in many different forms,
You
and
would
you a
never
prime
imagine. You
example.
would never ever ever imagine a mother. Like I'm sure this is very far fetched for y'all. Y'all are used to girls trying to make justifications and give reasoning, whatever. I'm not gonna divulge all of our personal relationship business. I'm a keep it general. You dealt with a street nigga. You dealt with some shit, and that's I said a lot without saying nothing at all. But by the same token, none of that has anything to do with who this man is as a father and what he is entitled to as a father. And I never in a million years thought I'd be the person standing here fighting for him so hard. I don't even like to use the word fighting because there's power in the words. And I don't
Yeah.
like to call this a story because a story is something that has a beginning and an end. This is ongoing. This is a fucking trilogy. This is a journey, an epic journey through the justice and the miscarriage of justice.
So,
But
what
even
word do you use instead of fighting?
working, working, I'm working, I'm working. This is work. Fighting, writing briefs, making content. It's emotional. I haven't posted because it's so emotionally taxing to watch the old videos to make the footage to post the videos. And I don't
Yeah,
want to be the
it's
sad girl. I'm living
traumatizing.
through some sad shit, but I don't want to be synonymous for the sad girl. I just don't. I don't want to be
Well,
like. I just don't.
in these type of things, you don't know your victory lap could be near.
Oh, honey, let me tell you
And
something.
so you
This
won't
bit,
be known as the
she
sad girl. They may think you
well,
look crazy, because
well,
that's what they label us cancers anyway. But
well. All I
once it's
know
all
is
said and
it's
done,
time
it's
to
about
name
your baby.
names. It's time to name names. It's time to show faces. It's time to apply the pressure because I've been nothing more than passive. I've been very mature. I've been very amicable. And she's relentless and she's not willing to compromise or make any type of effort. We could have had fucking FaceTimes. Something, throw this baby a bone. You could have
Right.
gave us FaceTimes and then, oh, he's having seizures, it's bad for him, and then take it away. This baby has not been observed to have any interaction with his father. So why are we automatically saying that it's going to be a detriment as opposed to a benefit? This motherfucker could be the life force. This motherfucker could be the life force that brings this man back. The question is, why doesn't she want him to come back?
So we gonna end on that note. Thank you so much, Sue.
You wanna dish out your handle? I know
Yeah.
you got some things going on that you may want people to support.
I
Uh,
appreciate it. We on our Instagram. I am Go Gadget Advocate Chick. Yes, I know it's long, but you're not gonna find another Go Gadget Advocate Chick. And why did I name myself that? Because I be pulling out all kinds of tips and tricks. All I'm gonna say is go on Amazon. They got all kinds of spy gadgets. They can go into court. You gotta document. You gotta hold people You gotta make sure we have accountability and transparency by any means necessary. We also have merch. So my IG handle is Go Gadget Advocate Chick. Our merch page is Advocates Attire because guardianship, unfortunately, there's the adult guardianship, but there's a lot of people that are also being affected by CPS coming in taking children, and that's a whole different entity, an aspect of guardianship. On
Mhm.
TikTok, I am so Sumi 222. So Sumi. That's what I'm
I love it. I love it. I
All right.
love you. I love your energy. And I do think, we stand by and support anything that's dealing with parental alienation as far as reconnecting kids back with their parents. And so we stand with you, and thank
And
you
I
for sharing
appreciate y'all.
your journey with us. And yeah, until then, we're here and we want to support you as well. So thank you for giving us that.
I
Yeah,
thank y'all
and
as
I
well.
got one thing I want to leave with you. Because I've been an alienated dad. So I've been exactly where you at right now. Luckily, I had, of course, a great support system, but make sure you take care. Make sure you take care of yourself mentally. You gonna have to take some days out for yourself to do things that you like to do for yourself. If that's exercise and that's doing whatever it is that you like to do, that's not surrounding this. That's very important. Because this can consume you,
Hmm.
and it's tough. It's rough. So,
Well,
and
for
I'm
whatever reason, I'm built for this. I feel those 2 periods of incarceration that we did kind of like bred me to be able to navigate through this. But by the same token, you're absolutely right. I'm pouring into everyone else, and no one's pouring into me. But by the same
Exactly.
token, I just feel like until I see this thing through, and then, I mean, I'm not taking my help for granted by no means. But by the same token, I'm very powerful, and I really I see myself in a good light. I see myself in a healthy light. I see myself on the other side of this. I'm already thinking about the content I'm going to be making, like, come with me as I'm a caregiver for my disabled boyfriend. Like,
yeah,
I'm gonna start making that type of
We
content.
wish you all that
yeah,
and some.
yeah.
Thank y'all for everything y'all do. Thank you.